I'm gonna be super real, so if you're easily offended or if you're gonna get offended by my rah-rah, then this might not be the video for you. If you are thinking about getting into the field of cosmetology, or if you're in it and you're getting tired, or if you're in it and you want to get a plan together, then this is the video for you. Hey girl, Cyn Doll here, coming at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to give you the 6 reasons I stopped standing behind the chair as a licensed cosmetologist. Still a cosmetologist, but on a different level. So let's get into this video. Number 1, I lost my why. And what does that mean? I was just so in love with the art form of hair itself, right? Beauty is the purest form of self-care. I love looking at a woman and seeing the beauty in her and knowing exactly how to pull it out. That's what cosmetology was about for me. That's what becoming a cosmetologist was about for me, because as a cosmetologist, it wasn't just about cute hairstyles. As a cosmetologist, you learn everything about the human body from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, like different layers of the skin. I put it here on the screen. It's real. So I was always into the science of hair. So that's why I started. But the longer I did it, the more I lost my why, because women didn't give a damn about the health of their hair. Women didn't care about the science of their hair. So it was like the biggest reality shock when I went from cosmetology school. When you get out of cosmetology school, you're like running through the flowers like, oh my god, this is gonna be so great. People are gonna wanna listen to everything that I've learned about hair, and I'm gonna help people's hair grow long. But then once I got behind the chair, people was like, girl, don't nobody care nothing about that. I want you to do this picture. Girl, shut up. Don't nobody care nothing about that. So I slowly began to lose my why, because the reason that I started wasn't the reason that women wanted it done. So I began to transition myself. I had to change, because the way the industry at the time, the way that I was coming into the industry, I'm 19 years old, I'm green as hell, and all I care about is the science of hair. And so all of these older women looking at me like, girl, nobody care nothing about that, girl, don't nobody care, like, girl, bye. Immediately I'm like shrinking myself, but I didn't want to do that originally. So that's why I went into studio salons to start working by myself, so that way I could have my own identity. Number 2. But then at this point, right, it went from, all right, me like I'm super in love with hair to like, and the science of hair, to like, oh, these women don't give a crap about the science of hair. All they care about is who can do their hair the best and who's better than this girl here in comparison. So because of the way that the industry was when I came in, and remember I was 19, so because of the way that the industry was, I'm like, all right, like, can't beat them, join them, it is what it is. So then shortly after that, you know, so at that point, and as I'm saying it, you would think it's like, oh, a couple years later. No, this is like over 15 years. Met my husband, and you know, we get married, start having our babies, but all in the midst of that, I'm losing my why. So number 2, I got trapped. So because I lost my why, all of the plans that I had made in cosmetology school were like null and void, and I was stuck now like in this, what do women want? The customer is always right. And the women that I had around me, just to be honest, they didn't have their shit together either. They were in their 60s still standing behind the chair. So they just telling me the stuff that they know, and no disrespect, but they shit wasn't figured out either. So the advice that they gave me led me to shrink myself even more into a box of what the consumer wanted me to be. The customer is always right. Even if they were wrong, they're always right, right? So there was no education, there was no moving forward in the hair industry when I started, because all of the cosmos were so worried about just making sure women stayed in their chair and competing with the other stylists next door. So nobody was giving science, because if they give science, women don't want to hear that, and they're gonna lose clients. And if you lose clients, you lose money. And if you lose money, you can't pay bills. And if you can't pay bills, then you homeless. So it's like I got lost in promotion, right? Because at that point it don't have nothing to do with science. It's like, okay, now at this point the best marketer wins. So then I'm pretty good at that because I'm from the D, and if anybody know anything about anybody from the D, you know how to keep your fronts all the way up and you can hustle. All right, I believe personally hustlers are born and bred in Detroit and then shipped out to other places around the world, Craig, you know what I'm saying? So that's when social media started taking off, because when I first started off, Instagram was nowhere to be found, right? It was Facebook, but who was really on Facebook, right? I know it sounds like, oh, you were following along, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, hair, it's all cool for y'all, but it's my job. It's how I eat, how I pay my bills. So all of that, oh, I'm doing it for hair and for the science, like, girl, bye. Like, I had bills to pay, right? So that's when I really got deep into like understanding social media, understanding the algorithm and all of that stuff, right? So transition to that. But then the more I went into that, it's crazy because I started growing so freaking fast, right? Like, I was doing I got posted on Shade Room. The first time I didn't pay for the promotion, it happened, and then the second time I ended up paying for the promo, and then it was like either or, left and right, because I had celebrity clients that was ending up on Shade Room and then tagging me in it. So like, I was just growing so freaking fast, right? And you would think that that would be good, but it wasn't, because the bigger I was, the bigger I got, or the bigger I grew on social media, the more I shrunk as a person with my individuality, like the smaller I had to become. That's number 3. I lost myself living on script, because at this point, remember, I started off like, oh my God, science of hair, da 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 da, and then it's like, oh no, the customer is always right, you can't do that, you know, now you got to focus on this. So like I said, in promotion, and then I was living on script. It was certain stuff like, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that, oh, you can't show that, or you can't do that, oh no, post this, you can't post that, you can't show this. So it confuses everyone, right? Because on social media, everybody's looking at stuff and they see it one way. So y'all like, oh, this is how stuff go, but it's like, no, it don't. It don't go like that. But we have to post this. Like, this is what we have to present. Not that anybody was twisting our arm making us post anything else, but if we were to share the real, if we were to be transparent and say, oh, this month I barely was able to pay booth rent, so I did a special to kick this off. Like, if we really say that, we're attacked or you're shamed. So it's not a safe space. It's not. The black hair industry is not a safe space for black women as a stylist. It's not. It's just my personal opinion. If you don't feel like this, then okay. But in my opinion, as it pertains to the way that black women look at hairstylists, and if you don't fit into this category, I'm not talking to you, right? Most black women expect of their hairstylists things that they can't even perform themselves. Like, you just expect your hairstylist to be without a flaw, like perfection, right? So it just put so much of a big barrier and a big weight on top of me, because it's like I had to be this girl. I had to be this type of person, because the customer's always right, and this is how you keep clients in your chair. Not to mention, before I move on to number 4, living on script is like, for me, I know that when you look at me on YouTube, it's like, oh, saying this loud or whatever. Yes, I am loud in real life, like I am, but I'm an introvert. My birthday is July 20th. I am a introvert, okay? I am a Cancer, Sun, and Moon, and a Gemini rising. If you know, then you know. But girl, like, the Gemini rising part really helped me, because even though I'm an introvert, I was able to like switch it on and off when I needed to at work, so it wasn't that hard. But just because I was able to switch off my face does not mean that my inners were not changed. So on top of me burying myself altogether, like from day one, I also, like, imagine this, this is at the peak of everything, right? So like, when most people start hearing about me on YouTube and everything, at the peak of my career, I was working like 5 days a week. 5 days a week. I refused to do Saturday and Sunday. At the peak of my career, I didn't do the weekend, but I was working 5 days a week, and I had a minimum. I wouldn't go over 9 clients a day, but people would talk me into it, and sometimes I would do 10 or 11. Swear, like on everything. If you a Cosmo, if you know, you know. People will talk you into it before you know it. You supposed to be getting off of work at 7 o'clock, but then I'm getting off of work at 11, right? So on top of that, and I love every client that I've ever had. I love you so much. Please know I'm not being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, but like, you become a fucking dumpster. Like, I'm an empath, right? So when you tell me a story, like when you tell me something negative that happened to you, it's horrific, because I'm not only hearing you, I'm picturing it in my mind. Like, that's how I'm able to create the styles that people wanted to see, because I would see it in my mind. Like, you tell me what you want, I would see it on your face and your bone structure. So if you telling me stuff that happened to you, stuff you going through, then I'm picturing all of it. And I'm in Las Vegas, so in other places it's like everybody is pretty much the same, but in Vegas everybody's different, because everybody's from somewhere else. So I'm getting all of these different energies, all of these different stories in the midst of doing hair still, and in the midst of me getting all of this energy for all of these different people. I'm also calling women, are you here? Are you almost here? Are you on your way here? Then she's sending me up, me having to go on my phone and make a post so I can fill that spot. You know what I mean? And all of this in the midst of her crying and telling me something horrific that happened to her. And this is client after client after client after client. So I'm constantly in Gemini mode, just switching my face over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, and I once again don't want to make nobody feel away, but put yourself in my shoes. Like, I have one client, my first client of the day, super nice chick, one of my favorite clients, right? Pretty neutral, everything cool. Then my second client is a prostitute, no disrespect. My second client is a prostitute that just got off of work, who pimp just dropped her off with an attitude. And then the client right after her is a dancer who think that she better than everybody on this planet. And then my client right after her is a chick that likes to get her hair done so she can go meet ball players. And then I'll have another client that's just like me, that's super sweet. And then my very next client will be somebody that stank like, what is this? So just all of these fluctuations. And I know it's probably wild to you right now, right? Like, oh my God, this is a lot. Well, imagine how I felt. And what I just described to you was one day, just one day, right? One day. And this doesn't have anything to do with hair. I haven't said anything about hair yet, right? I haven't said anything about hair yet. And you know, I would do this every single day, like just rinse and repeat. And keep in mind, everything that I'm saying, this is while you guys were subscribing to me on YouTube. So I would be getting up in the morning, going to work. And my very first client is at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm not getting home until 9, 10 o'clock at night, or let's say 7, 8 o'clock at night, because I got better once my kids got older. And then going home, cooking dinner, still being a wife and a mother. And then after my kids go to sleep, I'm staying up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning so y'all can get a video posted. And then I'm waking up in the morning at 5 so I can get my kids up into school by 7. But I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, making sure that the video is okay. And sometimes it wasn't. I had to go re-edit, upload the video to YouTube, get it public, pack all my shit up, and get ready to go to work and do hair, pack my laptop up and everything, then go to work, do hair. But before my client gets there, I gotta set the camera up so I can set the camera up and get angles so I can film the hair video. And then stay there till 9 o'clock, go home, edit, do the shit all over again. That was my life. So, number 4, fake it till you make it. This is number 4 because at this point, I know y'all probably like, oh my God, what is that? What was going on? Yes, but I couldn't act like that. We can't act like that. We can't act like we're barely holding it together. We can't act like we're not making it, because I mean, the way that And this is why I felt weird even sharing this, because people be like, oh, but that's being fake, like you didn't share that. But it's like the way that other black women, and I'm speaking, I can say this because I'm a black woman too, so don't be like, oh, why you take a black woman? Shut your face, because I'm a black woman too, and if you don't want to see yourself like this, then stop appearing this way. As another black woman, it's like if I'm getting online and I'm getting called bitches and hoes for the way that I hold my flat iron, why would I feel comfortable or safe enough to say like, damn, I'm struggling, or like, dang, this is a lot. I know I'm giving y'all a lot of content, I know I'm keeping you entertained, but this shit is killing me. We couldn't say that, because when you do, we get stuff from our own people like, oh well, you signed up for this, oh well, it comes with the territory. But it really doesn't. Because in cosmetology school, there's no module for this. Like, there's nothing to prepare you for what you will experience in the hair industry. And there are a lot of women who don't experience it, right? There are a lot of women who don't. For this, there are a lot of women whose experience in the hair industry is all bubblegum and sparkles. And for me, that makes it even harder, because it makes you feel like it's something wrong with you, right? And I want you to keep in mind, this isn't like, I wasn't having clients complain about me and arguing with my clients and having fights. Like, I can count without using all of my hands in all of my fingers in my 15-year career, how many disputes and negative reviews and stuff like that I've had. It comes with the territory, but that's not why I left. Number 5, self-employment turned into like regular employment. But when you think about it, it was even worse, because at least if you work a regular 9 to 5 and you call to work, and like, let's say you don't feel like going to work that day, but let's just be real, because let's not act like hairstylists are not human beings. Just like you could go out at night and then get up in the morning and be like, I do not feel like going to work. Mind you a whole nurse, or you a whole medical assistant, you a whole person to bring people in at the ER. I don't know what that job description is, but people could really die if you don't come to work, or you really saving lives, right? You can call off of work and say, hey, I'm not feeling good and I'm not coming to work, and all your boss gonna say is okay. Or worst case scenario, they may take a little bit of money out of your pay. Like you may have your pay docked a little bit. Worst case scenario, or you may get fired. But even when you get fired, the worst thing that they gonna say to you is like, it's not working out, you know, thank you for everything so far, but you can get your stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. They're not gonna go on LinkedIn and be like, this bitch she couldn't even file no fucking papers, this hoe. This nigga, he was super dumb, like he didn't even know how to work a keyboard, so we had to let his dumb ass go. If this dumb ass come to you for an interview, don't hire him, because his stupid ass don't even know how to use a keyboard. Like, no, that doesn't happen to you. But as a cosmetologist, if you are a human being at any point in time, you are literally like degraded and talked about, and you got negative Yelp reviews. Like, I had a baby and oh my god, this is so unprofessional, you are so fucking unprofessional, I got places to be, places to go, like, whoa. And the bigger I became, the larger my name got, the more followers I got, the worse it became. Because then I got put in this place, and this could have just been the place that I was in Vegas, because everybody's coming here, right? And by people being able to book me online, a lot of people that were coming to Vegas to book me, they were making me a part of their Vegas trip. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to come to Vegas and Cyn Doll here too, so let's go. I had absolutely no time for myself. I had absolutely no time for my children. And it was crazy because self-employment became worse than having a regular 9 to 5 job. Like, I found that I wasn't working for myself. I worked for for women. I worked for multiple women. Like, I had multiple bosses, right? And the only way that I could get out of that was by making policy and procedures, because the policy and procedures that people got now, like, now everybody got booking rules, now everybody has a booking fee and all of that, but everybody was not doing that when I started doing it. I'm not saying I was the very first one, but I was the group of the first set of hairstylists that started doing online booking and all that stuff. So when I came, it was like, who does she think she is? Or like, she bougie, or she thinks she better than everybody else. Like, and it just became unbearable, because remember what number one was and why I started in the first place. Like, I only started to get into the science of hair. I wanted to be Bill Nye, the science guy, the female version from the deep. Like, I wanted to be the smart ass, pretty ass black girl that be cussing and stuff sometimes and just smart as hell. Like, that's what I wanted to be. That's what I wanted. But by the time I stopped doing hair, it had gotten so far from that, and the level of misery that I had reached was unexplainable. Like, me and my husband were having issues, not like that, like girl, he don't step out and neither do I. I just mean, like, I was so short-fused, so short-tempered. Like, I was just so full of negative energy all the time. Like, I was so unhappy. And anytime I tried to do anything about it outside of the hair industry, I would get people like, and this is number 6, others telling me who I am, what I'm capable of, what I can do. And if you know anything about a Cancer, you know this. You want to get me not to do something, tell me to do it. You don't want me to do something, tell me that I better do it. I swear to God, I won't do it. And I decided when I walked away from the hair industry that it did not matter what. No, that was a lie. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna leave. And when I left the hair industry, when I left from standing behind the chair, the peace that I had, the peace that I gained, I was like, oh my God, like it was intoxicating. That's why sometimes you'll see me post and then you see me not post for a while, because I've been doing this since I was 19. Like, the years just floated away. Like, they just, and mind you, in the midst of that, my dad died and so many other things. Like, but the years just like floated away. And I was sitting there with my husband and I'm like, I'm not about to let another 15 years of my life just breeze by, all because I'm doing, and I'm not trying to say like y'all don't matter, but all because I'm doing women's hair and making them beautiful and preparing them to go have beautiful experiences. I'm not having them. No, like, I'm not doing it. And then when I did go back for a minute, I was like, maybe I was wrong, let me double check. And when I went back, it was just a reiteration. So I know for every one woman that's like, oh, Cyn, come back, there are 5 more women that you come back for. And they just, like, when I came back that last time, the very last time, I told myself, I don't care what happens, I don't care what I have to lose, I don't care what I have to go through, I'm never coming back here. And the only way that I will do hair again is if it's for fun, or like if I got a bunch of money on the table, like from a brand or something like that. But for a trade, never again. So I really hope that this made sense, because once I stepped away, like, to have a feeling of peace that you've never experienced before, and just being in this blissful state, and then to go back to it and have that anxiety come back and I have to work through to get it back out again. I know exactly where my anxiety came from, and I don't care how much I entertain people or what. Like, I'm never going back to that. Like, I'm never going back to it. And so now I went back to my original passion, which was the science of hair. I'm back in my bag. And when I say back in my bag, baby, we not talking about money, because this webinar that I'm telling you about right now is free $99. So make sure you check the links in the description box below and get your free tickets to my live webinar. Well, I am going to start smashing these old bottles, because you cannot build a firm foundation without tearing up the old foundation first. And in this webinar, I'm diving deep into what I believe I'm really here on this earth for. And what I'm really here on this earth for, baby, is not to fit inside of any type of box. It's to help you break out of the box that they put you in. Because as a Black woman, your hair is not weakest, it is actually the strongest. And if you can understand the real science of your hair, and if you can understand the real science of your body, forget just your hair, because your hair growth journey starts from the inside. So I'm not gonna unload on you too much. As you can tell, we about to get into it, honey. So make sure that you get your free tickets to the Firm 5 Foundation, you guys. It's free $99. Links in the description box below. I cannot wait to see you.